The sun wasn't even up yet when my phone buzzed with the notification I'd been waiting for. I couldn't help but smirk as I opened the email from Wagner's legal team. The subject line screamed, "Urgent. Payment due immediately. Legal action pending." I didn't even bother reading the whole thing before forwarding it to my mom. She deserved the shock, straight up, no filter. 20 minutes later, my phone went off like a fire alarm. Call after call after call. I ignored every single one, just watching the screen light up. Mom. Dad. Mom again. Sophia, probably from jail, honestly. Mom again. Some random number that was obviously mom using someone else's phone. Then my dad finally broke through with a text, "Ava, please. Your mother is hysterical." "What is this bill?" I shot back. "Read it. Especially the part about who signed the liability waiver." By noon, my mom had sent me a 17-paragraph email that ping-ponged between fury, denial, and wild attempts at bargaining. I deleted it after the first line. How could you do this to your own mother? The irony was almost beautiful. The same woman who'd once locked me out of a bedroom I paid for now wanted to know how I could do this to her. Then the actual invoice came, attached to my dad's next email. I opened it with the kind of cold detachment a surgeon probably uses with a bad x-ray. Elite Stays Luxury Rentals. Final invoice. Property, the Ocean Citadel, Malibu Coast. Reservation holder, Ava Thompson. Liable party, per signed agreement Eleanor Thompson. Itemized charges, property damage and consumption. Consumed and spilled wine, 5 bottles ex Chateau Margaux at $4,500, $23,000. Persian rug replacement, irreparable wine stain, 18th century Tabriz, $23,000. Subtotal, property damage $44,000. Restoration and cleanup. Special cleaning services, emergency call-out, $8,000. Furniture repair and refinishing, $7,000. Subtotal, restoration $15,000. Legal and administrative. Contract violation penalties, $25,000. Security dispatch and emergency response, $15,000. Legal processing and court filing fees, $10,000. Subtotal, legal/admin $50,000. Total amount due, $109,000. Payment required within 72 hours. Failure to pay will result in civil litigation and asset seizure. I read it 3 times, checking every number. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. The last paragraph made me grin even wider. Please note that the Thompson family has been permanently blacklisted from all Elite Stays properties nationwide. This decision is final and non-negotiable. Dad called that night. I almost ignored him, but curiosity got the better of me. "Ava." He sounded like he'd aged 20 years overnight. "We had to withdraw from our retirement account. Do you understand what you've done?" I leaned back against my kitchen counter, my real one, in my real house. The one they'd never set foot in. I spent $45,000 trying to do something nice for people who couldn't even pretend to be grateful for 4 hours. You tell me who did what to whom, Dad? Your mother signed that paper because she was trying to help. She signed it because she wanted control. I cut in. She wanted to be in charge. She wanted to be the one responsible for the big, fancy house her daughter rented. Well, congratulations. She got exactly what she wanted. Silence. The kind that stretches on forever, like the distance between Malibu and Hidden Hills. "Don't call me again," I said quietly. "Not unless you're ready to admit what really happened that night." I hung up before he could answer. 3 weeks later, I posted the photo. The infinity pool glowed turquoise against the sunset, city lights flickering on below. I lounged back in my favorite white sundress, wine glass in hand, looking peaceful as hell. Caption? Simple. Home is where the peace is. Within an hour, there it was. A comment from Beach Babe 2847, a fake account, but I'd know Sophia's weird use of random capitals anywhere. Scammer. How dare you do that to your family? You're disgusting. I'd been waiting for this. My fingers flew across the screen. I didn't scam anyone. I spent $45,000 to throw everyone a party. The price you're paying now is tuition for a very expensive lesson in greed and ingratitude. Consider it an investment in your character development, Though from that comment, the returns look pretty terrible. Don't contact me again. I'm busy enjoying the peace at my real home. I hit send, blocked the account. The messages came anyway through friends, distant relatives, even my old college roommate. Everyone had an opinion. You went too far. That's still your mother. Family is family. But none of them got it. The woman who locked that deadbolt didn't see me as family. She saw me as an ATM with a friendly withdrawal policy. The sisters who trashed a mansion I paid for? They didn't see me as a person. They propped me up in their social feeds like I was scenery, not a person. I take another sip of wine, Pinot Noir, nothing fancy, just good, and watch the sun slide behind the hills. The silence doesn't feel empty out here. It's thick with possibility. With peace. I can finally breathe without the weight of people who loved what I gave them, not who I am. People call me cruel for setting a trap for my own mother. Let them. If someone locks you out of a house in the middle of the night, a house you paid for blood doesn't mean much anymore. She made the break, not me. She just wasn't ready for consequences. Real freedom isn't a $13 million house or a Porsche. It's having the guts to cut out the toxic people, even if they share your last name. Especially then. The pool lights flick on as the sky goes dark and the water turns this deep, glowing blue. I'm alone. But honestly, I've never felt less lonely. This is home. Right now I'm parked in my Porsche, tucked into a turnout on PCH, watching my family throw a party for my downfall on my iPad. The security feed shows everything. Crystal chandeliers, Malibu views, my mother Eleanor in the middle of the room, waving her arms around like she owns the place. Sophia and Isabella, my sisters, are sprawled on the white sectional, phones out, already plotting their next TikTok. Mom raises her glass. The audio's thin, but I catch every word. Finally, she sighs, so relieved it's almost funny. Gloomy Ava is gone. She's only good for her wallet anyway. She ruined the look. Sophia giggles. Isabella sweeps her phone around the room, narrating for her followers. Check out our new $25 million Malibu mansion, you guys. Ocean views, infinity pool, total luxury. Our mansion. I should feel something. Anger? Heartbreak? But there's just this sharp, cold clarity settling inside me. They think I bought this place. They think when Mom grabbed that paper from the butler and signed it without reading, because she never reads the fine print, they snagged a $25 million palace out from under me. They couldn't be more wrong. I spent exactly $45,000 to rent that house for 2 nights. Just a test. One last, expensive experiment to see if there was anything left to save in this family. The paper Mom signed? Not a deed. Just a rental agreement and a liability waiver. She agreed to cover any damage. And right now, Sheriff Ford is about 15 minutes away. On the screen, I zoom in. Mom's pointing at the locked glass cabinet with the house's prized bottle inside, clearly marked display only. I shift into drive, pull away from the coast, heading east. Away from them. Toward hidden hills. Toward my real home, a $13 million estate they'll never see. To get why I'm sitting here, spying on my family like some corporate investigator, you have to rewind about 6 hours. This morning, I woke up in my Hidden Hills sanctuary for the first time as the owner. Escrow closed 3 days ago. $13 million. 5 bedrooms, mountain views, an infinity pool that spills toward the Santa Monica Mountains. Gated, private, quiet, the opposite of Malibu. I bought it in secret. Didn't tell my family. Didn't post about it anywhere. For the first time in my adult life, I kept something valuable out of their reach. I've been the family ATM since I made my first million at 26. I'm 32 now. 6 years of my money pouring into their lives. Paying Isabella's shopping sprees, Sophia's festival passes, Mom's Botox, Dad's gambling debts he thinks no one knows about. I built everything from scratch. A tech consulting firm, sleepless nights, skipped meals, grinding myself into something that made money. And somewhere in all that, I stopped being a daughter and became a wallet. But if I'm honest, there's still a part of me, a kid who wanted her mom's approval, her sister's friendship, her dad to stand up for her just once. I wish I could say I don't care anymore. But that would be a lie. So, I set up one last test. Told them I'd bought the Ocean Citadel at least. That's what the real estate listings called it. Malibu. $25 million worth of glass and steel, perched above the ocean like something straight out of a billionaire's fever dream. I invited everyone out for a weekend housewarming. That was a lie. I'd actually just rented it through Elite Stays, one of those ultra-luxury services for people who want to pretend they own palaces for their Instagram followers. 2 nights, $45,000. Honestly, that was nothing compared to what I'd spent on them in the past. But this time, it wasn't about spoiling them. This was about the truth. I wanted to see how they'd act if they thought I'd finally given them everything. Would money buy their love, or had I just been deluding myself all this time? Spoiler, I was deluding myself. We pulled up around 6, just as the sun started sliding into the Pacific. Gate code worked. The circular drive glowed with those trendy Edison bulbs strung between palm trees. The house stood there, all glass reflecting the sunset, waves smashing against the rocks below. Mom actually gasped. Sophia had her phone out in seconds, filming everything. For a split second, I felt something, a flicker of hope, maybe. That old, stupid hope that this would finally bring us together. Then the butler arrived. Marcus, his name tag said. Immaculate suit, iPad tucked under one arm, polite smile. Good evening, Miss Thompson, he said, nodding at me. Welcome to the Ocean Citadel. I'll just need you to complete the digital check-in before I can hand over the keys. He flipped open the iPad, the screen glowing. I need the homeowner's signature to confirm the handover and accept the terms of your stay. I reached for it, but my mother's hand snapped across my wrist, quick as a whip. Let Mom do it, Eleanor said, all syrupy sweetness, but iron grip. She yanked the iPad from Marcus. You're just the one paying, sweetie. But I'm the roof. I'm the one who decides everything here. My name goes on the papers. Marcus blinked, confused, but didn't argue. Not his circus. I should have fought her. I should have grabbed the iPad back and signed it myself. But I didn't. I just stood there, watching her manicured finger flick across the screen. She didn't even bother scrolling through the terms and conditions. And that's when it hit me. She was about to hang herself, and all I had to do was hand her the rope. The screen said it plain as day, this is a rental agreement and liability waiver. Whoever signs takes responsibility for any damage, all of it. Eleanor Thompson scrawled her signature with a flourish, grinning like she'd just won the lottery. She had no idea she'd just signed her own sentence. By 7, the sun was gone and the party had started. I say party, but really, it was just a photo shoot with catering. Marcus had brought in a private chef, Connor, some young guy with a resume out of Napa. He laid out a spread that looked like it belonged in a magazine. Butter-poached lobster, truffle risotto, heirloom tomato salad with burrata that probably cost more than my first car. My family didn't eat any of it. They just took photos. Sophia arranged her lobster 17 different ways, fussing over the lighting, the angle, the filters. Isabella filmed herself pretending to eat risotto, then spit it into a napkin as soon as the camera stopped. Carbs are the enemy, Ava, she said, wrinkling her nose at me like I was the weird one for actually eating. Mom floated around with a champagne flute, narrating for her phone. This is my daughter's new home. Well, really, it's the family home. This is where we'll be spending our summers. I just sat on a bar stool, invisible. My dad, James Thompson, camped in an armchair by the window, scrolling through his phone, probably sports scores, definitely not checking on me. He'd perfected the art of being present but absent, a ghost who paid bills and kept his mouth shut. I stopped expecting anything from him a long time ago. By 7:30, the chef had packed up and left. The food sat there untouched, cooling, headed straight for the trash. 4 or 5 grand's worth of ingredients wasted. Not my problem, though. It wasn't my house. That's when Isabella noticed the wine cabinet. Mounted on the wall in the dining room, a glass case, softly lit, climate-controlled. It looked like a jewelry display, honestly. The lower shelves were lined with bottles of 1996 Chateau Margaux, each one worth about 4 grand. Everything was unlocked and up for grabs if you didn't mind the price. The house manual made that pretty clear, with tags that screamed ridiculously expensive. But that sixth bottle, sitting all alone on the top shelf, wasn't like the others. A 1947 Chateau de Kemsauternes. There was a little sign under it, $33,000. Display only. Not for guest use. Do not touch. The case around it had a serious-looking biometric lock. Isabella's eyes went wide, like she'd just found a designer bag on sale. "Oh my God," she whispered, nudging Sophia. "Look at that." Sophia turned, stared, jaw-dropping. Is that real?" "It's $33,000, Isabella said, almost whispering, like she was standing in front of a sacred artifact. She pressed her face to the glass, looking like a kid at a candy store. "Can you imagine the views if we took a picture with it? The engagement would be insane." I felt my stomach clench. "Don't touch that bottle," I said. All three of them, Mom, Sophia, Isabella, looked at me, matching frowns, like I'd just ruined their fun. Mom's voice went icy, the one she used right before she put me in my place. "Excuse me. That bottle isn't for us," I told her, trying to sound calm. "It's just for display. It's not part of the rental." I'd actually read the contract. More than once. Section 7, Paragraph C. Display items marked as such aren't for guests. They still belong to the owner. Mom hadn't read anything. She'd just signed and handed the iPad back to Marcus like she was signing for a package. "Ava, honey," she said, her smile tight, almost mocking, "this is our house now. Everything in it is ours. Stop being paranoid." "It's not our house," I said, quieter this time. "And that bottle is locked for a reason." Sophia rolled her eyes, already setting up her phone for a selfie. "Ugh, Ava, you're such a buzzkill. We're just taking pictures." Isabella didn't bother waiting. She'd already grabbed one of the $4,500 Chateau Margaux bottles from the bottom shelf, popped the cork with a loud thwack, and didn't even bother with a glass. Just took a swig straight from the bottle. "Don't," I said, louder now. "Seriously, that's $4,000. Isabella stepped onto a dining chair, heels wobbling, bottle in hand. "Or what?" She grinned, eyes a little wild. "You gonna tell on us?" "To who, Ava?" "You bought this place for us." She actually thought that. They all did. In their heads, that meant everything here was theirs. Including me. I glanced at Dad. He was still in his chair, glued to his phone, pretending nothing was happening. Like he always did. He never looked up when Mom blew through his retirement fund to pay off her cards, or when my sisters turned me into their personal ATM every Thanksgiving. Right then, I realized I wasn't going to win. Not with rules, not with reason, not with pleading. They'd do whatever they wanted. I could yell, or I could just step back and let reality catch up. I chose the second option. "Fine," I said, barely above a whisper. "Do whatever you want." I walked out, headed for the master suite, the one room I'd actually asked for when I booked the place. Behind me, Isabella hooped. "She's not even going to fight us. She's so weak." But I wasn't weak. I was just done. My silence wasn't surrender. It was waiting. I made it 6 steps down the hall before disaster hit. Isabella's screech, her "I'm filming myself" voice, ripped through the house. It always grated on me. "Okay guys, today is literally my housewarming party at our new Malibu mansion. I'm drinking this insane $4,500 wine, and look up there." She swung her phone and the open bottle up toward the locked case. "That bad boy is worth 30 grand. We are living the dream." Cheers, a loud crash cut her off. Not glass breaking, thank God, but a heavy thud, then the splash of wine, then Isabella's scream. I spun around. Isabella had tipped off the chair. Now she was sprawled on the floor, her phone sliding away from her. The open bottle of Chateau Margaux lay on the Persian rug, dumping dark red wine all over the cream and blue threads, like blood spreading out. That rug cost $23,000. I knew because I'd read the insurance rider stapled to the rental contract. Handwoven. Antique. One of a kind. For a second, no one moved. Then Sophia started laughing. "Oh my gosh, Izzy. Are you okay? Did you get that on video?" Isabella scrambled up, cheeks red, whining. "Shut up, sophomore. My phone, where's my phone?" Mom rushed over, but not to check on Isabella. She snatched up the Chateau Margaux bottle. "It's empty," she said, annoyed, and set it on the table. "Well, grab another one. There's plenty on the shelf." I just stared at the rug. The stain kept spreading, a dark crimson bloom. No way that's ever coming out. Not unless you call in a professional, and even then, the bill would be brutal. Nobody apologized. Nobody even looked worried. Dad glanced up from his phone, took in the scene, then went right back to scrolling. "Ava, can you grab some paper towels?" Mom called, not even looking at me, already steering Isabella toward the couch. "We need to clean this up before it sets. Can you grab some paper towels?" "Not, I'm sorry. Not, we'll handle it." Just an order, like I was the help. I didn't move. I turned toward the master suite. My hand was on the doorknob when Mom's voice whipped through the air. "Ava, where do you think you're going?" I turned. She stood at the end of the hallway, backlit by the chandelier, arms folded tight. "To my room," I said. "That's not your room," she said. Just like that. I blinked. "What?" She started walking toward me, that confident stride she always uses when she's about to take something away. Sophia and Isabella need it for their content. You know how important their platforms are. Their followers expect a certain aesthetic. I just stared at her. "This is my house. And we're your family," she said, syrupy sweet. "Family shares. You don't even use social media, Ava. You wouldn't appreciate the view like they would. There's a perfectly nice guest room downstairs. You'll be comfortable there." She said it like it was some kind of gift. Like I should be grateful. Something cracked inside me. Not broke, that happened years ago. This was different. This was the last thread snapping, obligation, hope, that sad little urge for their approval, gone. "Fine," I said. She blinked, surprised I didn't put up a fight. "Really? Really? I'll take the guest room." Her smile was pure victory. "I knew you'd understand, sweetheart. You're so practical." She turned and called down the hall. "Girls, the master's all yours." Sophia and Isabella came running, shrieking like kids at Christmas, grabbing another $4,500 bottle of wine. They were already planning TikToks, rearranging the room in their minds. I picked up my suitcase and walked downstairs. Past the great room, where the wine stain had stopped growing but would never fade. Past Dad, who didn't even look up. Into the guest room on the ground floor. Perfectly nice, technically. No view. No light. No personality. The kind of room you give a guest. Because that's what I was to them. Not family. Just a guest, one they tolerated as long as I paid for the privilege. I set my suitcase down and sat on the edge of the bed. And I felt calm. Unnervingly calm. Because Mom had just made a colossal mistake. She thought kicking me out of the master suite would put me in my place, but really, she just handed me freedom. I didn't owe them anything now. Not my patience. Not my money. Not my silence. The countdown started the day Mom signed that iPad. But this was the moment I decided to actually push the button. I pulled out my phone. Texted, "Mia, call me when you can. It's happening." Then I walked out to my car for the rest of my stuff. I had a feeling I wouldn't be coming back in. I pushed through the heavy glass door into the Malibu night. The air smelled like salt and jasmine, the kind of coastal breeze realtors use to sell houses. My Porsche sat in the driveway, looking almost embarrassed under the landscape lights. I grabbed my laptop bag from the trunk. My chargers. The overnight bag I'd left in the back seat, thinking I'd actually stay the weekend. 10 minutes, maybe. That's all it took to gather everything. When I came back to the front door, arms full of bags, I punched in the code. 6 digits. Same code Marcus gave me at check-in. Beep 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 beep. The little LED blinked green. Code worked. Lock clicked. But the door didn't budge. I pushed, nothing. Heavy wooden door, probably mahogany, probably cost more than my car, didn't move an inch. I dropped my bags and tried again. Slower this time, careful with each number. Beep 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 beep. Green light. Click. Still locked. A second later, it hit me. The deadbolt. That old-school, mechanical deadbolt that only works from inside. Backup security for rich people who don't trust tech. Someone had locked me out. I just stood there, arms full of luggage, staring at the door. Then I laughed. Not crazy, not angry, just that tired laugh you let out when you realize you've been playing checkers and your opponent just flipped the board. I pulled out my phone and called my mom. For rings. Long enough for her to see it was me and think about ignoring it. Finally, she picked up. Ava. Honey. What's wrong? Her voice, all syrup and fake concern, the one she used when she was about to gaslight me. The door's locked, I said, flat. Oh, sweetie, just use the code. Someone used the deadbolt from inside. The code doesn't work on a physical lock, Mom. Silence. Oh, right. That? Can you unlock it? Another long pause. I heard voices in the background, Sophia laughing, music playing, probably from one of their phones. Ava, honey. Look, her voice got gentle, which made it even worse. We need some private family space tonight. For bonding, you know. Your energy lately has been so negative. It scares your sisters. They need to feel safe and happy here. I closed my eyes. So, you're kicking me out. Don't think of it like that. Her voice perked up, all forced cheer. Think of it as giving you space too. You're always so stressed. Working all the time. Go back to your apartment, get some rest. Come back tomorrow morning to help us clean up. We'll have breakfast together. As a family, doesn't that sound nice? Come back to clean up. Not to celebrate. Not to spend time together. Just to scrub up their mess. We love you, honey, Mom said. I could hear her smile, sticky sweet, right through the phone. Bye now. Click. Call over. I stood in the driveway, phone in hand, listening to waves smashing against the rocks below. That fake sweetness, that passive-aggressive, we love you tacked on at the end like a prize for showing up, it stung way worse than if she'd just yelled at me to leave. At least that would have been honest. This was cruelty pretending to be kindness. I looked back at the house. Through the massive windows, I saw them, Sophia and Isabella dancing in the living room with drinks, Mom sinking into the couch, looking way too pleased, Dad in his chair, lost in his phone. They thought they'd won. Got rid of the bad energy, kept the mansion for themselves. But they didn't get it. Standing outside, locked out and humiliated, that was the proof I needed. Test's over. Result: total failure. They showed me who they really were. Not with words, but with actions. Not in the dark, but on camera, with security footage that would timestamp every second of their cruelty. I picked up my bags and walked to my car. Opened the trunk. Loaded everything in, one careful move at a time. Then I pulled out my phone and texted my mom. Fine, Mom. Enjoy tonight. Sent. I started the engine and drove off. Malibu to Hidden Hills is about 40 minutes with no traffic. PCH to the 101, then up through Calabasas and into the hills, where the houses hide behind walls and hedges that cost more than most cars. I'd done this drive 3 times this week, getting used to my new neighborhood. But tonight felt different. I wasn't running away. I was going home. 20 minutes in, my phone rang through the car speakers. Mia. I answered. Hey. Your text scared me, Mia said, voice sharp. What's happening? Are you okay? Mia's been my best friend since college. She knew me before the money, before my family realized I was useful. She'd watched the whole mess unfold, begged me to cut them off, again and again. I always made excuses. Not this time. I'm driving to Hidden Hills, I told her. They locked me out. Of your rental? No, my house, I said, and even I could hear the bitterness in my voice. Mom turned the deadbolt, told me to come back tomorrow and clean up after them. Said my bad vibes were scaring my sisters. Unbelievable, Ava. It's fine, I said. And, weirdly, I meant it. Actually, it's perfect. They failed the test. The test? I needed to know, I said, a little quieter. If there was anything left worth saving. If money could buy me what I wanted from them. And? No, it can't. They don't love me, Mia. They love my bank account. Now I know for sure. Mia went quiet. Then, what are you going to do? I merged onto the 101, leaving the ocean behind. The night was clear. I could see stars poking through, even with all the streetlights. I'm going to cancel the reservation, I said. Let's see what happens. Ava. Mia sounded careful. Are you sure? I've never been more sure about anything. Okay, she said. Then I'm proud of you. Don't be proud yet, I said. Wait until you see what comes next. I hung up as I took the Hidden Hills exit. No streetlights out here, just security lights humming behind gates, the occasional headlights sliding past from another luxury car. I pulled up to my gate, punched in the code. The iron bars drifted open without a sound. Home. My $13 million fortress. 5 bedrooms, valley views, an infinity pool glowing blue in the darkness. And not a single soul to tell me I didn't earn it. The house was dark when I pulled into the garage. I'd left at noon, sun blazing, the whole day stretched out in front of me like a dare. Now it was after 9, and I was stepping into silence. Blessed, perfect silence. I unlocked the door into the kitchen. Chef's kitchen. Marble everywhere. Appliances I barely knew how to use, probably worth more than some people's cars. I hadn't even stocked the fridge yet. Didn't matter. I wasn't hungry. I drifted through to the living room and stopped. The view. Floor-to-ceiling glass, the whole valley spilling out below. LA's lights scattered like someone tipped over a jewelry box. Santa Monica Mountains rising black against the sky. Quiet. Private. Mine. Everything Malibu isn't. I poured myself a glass of wine, not some $4,500 trophy bottle, just a decent Napa cab from my own stash, and sank into the Italian leather sofa facing the windows. Pulled out my iPad. The Elite Stays app was already open. I'd logged in during the drive, hands-free. My reservation sat right at the top. The Ocean Citadel. Malibu. 2 nights. $45,000. Check-in complete. Guest currently in residence. There was a big red button at the bottom. Cancel reservation. Emergency termination. I'd studied the terms of service, every word. I knew what happened when I pressed that button. Reservation gone. My family would go from guests to trespassers in a heartbeat. Property management gets the alert. Security shows up. And since Mom signed the liability waiver without reading a thing, all of it lands on her. I took a sip of wine. Thought about every credit card bill. Every shopping spree. Every time I got called the bank or the wallet or just ignored. Thought about getting kicked out of the master suite in my own house. Locked out, told to come back and clean. Thought about my mom's voice. We love you, honey. Bye. I pressed the button. The screen flashed. Are you sure? This can't be undone. Yes. Reason. Guests are violating contract terms, causing property damage, engaging in destructive behavior. The app spun for 3 seconds. Reservation canceled. Property management and security have been notified. Thank you for using Elite Stays. Done. I set the iPad down, picked up my phone. Found Wagner Properties, the management company for the Ocean Citadel. The phone barely rang twice before a man answered. All business. Wagner Properties. Secure line. This is Ava Thompson, I said. I just canceled my reservation at the Ocean Citadel. Confirmation number Delta 7-7-6-3. Yes, Miss Thompson. We received the alert. Can you tell me exactly why you're canceling? My family, well, the other guests are trashing the place. They spilled a $4,500 bottle of wine all over the Persian rug in the dining room. They've been drinking nonstop and are totally out of control. I tried to stop them, but they just locked me out of the house. I get it, Miss Thompson. We're sending our security team right now. We'll also call the police to help with the eviction. Are you in any physical danger? No, I said. I left. I'm safe. They're still inside, though. And they aren't going to leave on their own. All right. We'll take care of it. You'll get documentation for all the damage within 24 hours. Is your contact info still the same? Yes. Thanks for letting us know so quickly, Miss Thompson. We'll be in touch. He hung up. I set my phone down next to the iPad, took another sip of wine, and waited. The cameras were the last piece. When I booked the rental, I'd asked for temporary access to the security system, pretty standard with places this expensive. The feed was on a separate app, only active for my stay. I opened it. 6 cameras popped up on my screen, neat in a grid. I could see everything. My family was still in full party mode. The timestamp said 9:17 p.m. The coffee table was buried under empty wine bottles. By my count, they'd finished 5 $4,500 bottles of Chateau Margaux and were pouring a sixth. The $33,000 bottle locked in the cabinet was still safe, but they were busy taking selfies in front of it, posing like they owned the place. At 9:31 p.m., headlights swung into the driveway. 2 cars. A black SUV stamped with Wagner security and a sheriff's cruiser. I leaned in, wine glass forgotten. This was it. The security team reached the door first, 2 guys in suits, calm and professional. One rang the bell. I switched to the inside camera with audio. The chime echoed through the house. Sophia looked up, totally confused. Who on earth is that? Probably Ava, Isabella slurred, laughing. Coming back to beg. Mom stood up, smoothing her hair and already getting ready to deliver some icy speech. She opened the door and froze. Sheriff Ford stood there behind the security guys, hand resting on his belt, face like stone. Evening, ma'am, the lead security guy said. Are you Eleanor Thompson? Yes? What's this about? Miss Ava Thompson has canceled the rental agreement for this property and filed a report for contract violations and property damage. This house is now closed. Everyone needs to leave immediately. Mom's face cycled through a whole slideshow: confusion, disbelief, anger, fear. She finally settled on outrage. This is ridiculous, she snapped. My daughter bought this house. We're not going anywhere. Ma'am, the security officer said, still formal, this rug is a hand-woven Persian antique worth $23,000. It's been badly damaged. And, he gestured at the bottles, you've gone through over $21,000 worth of private stock. Sheriff Ford didn't say a word, but his jaw clenched. He glanced at the living room. Everyone needs to exit the property now. You have 5 minutes to grab your personal stuff, wallets, phones, keys. Everything else stays. This is insane. Mom was screaming now, totally losing it. My daughter is playing some sick game. She invited us here. She bought this place. Ma'am, I have the rental contract right here. The security officer held up a tablet. Signed by you at 6:14 this evening. You agreed to all the terms, including liability for damages. You're listed as the responsible party. I didn't, I thought I was signing. She told me she bought it. That's between you and your daughter. But right now, you're trespassing. Isabella was still filming with shaking hands. This is entrapment. This is illegal. Miss, put the phone away or I'll confiscate it as evidence, Sheriff Ford said. Evidence of what? We didn't do anything. Property destruction, public intoxication, trespassing, and if you don't put that phone down right now, obstruction of justice. Fueled by wine and entitlement, Isabella stepped forward. She jammed her phone right up in Sheriff Ford's face. I'm live streaming this. Say hi to my followers, you fascist. Miss, step back, Ford warned. Make me. Isabella shot back, and then she crossed the line. She shoved him. Not hard, but enough. Sheriff Ford moved in a flash. He grabbed her wrist and twisted it behind her back, smooth and fast. The phone crashed to the floor. Hey, that's assault. Sophia shrieked. That's battery on a law enforcement officer, Ford snapped back. You're under arrest, Sophia started screaming. You can't arrest her, she didn't mean it. I lunged, grabbing for the officer's arm, trying to pry him off my sister. The second security guy slipped in and blocked me, quick and calm. Miss, stay back. Don't touch me. Sophia screamed, fighting like hell. That's enough, Ford said. Both of you, you're coming with me. Mom didn't move. She just stood there, watching them cuff both her daughters, her face stuck somewhere between shock, fury, and something like fear. This is your fault, she hissed. But I couldn't even tell who she meant me. Herself? God? The universe? Everyone out, Ford barked. The Thompson sisters are going to the station. The rest of you can leave now, or I'll arrest you for trespassing too. Dad stood up so slowly, he looked 20 years older than he had that morning. Eleanor, he said, barely above a whisper. We need to go. This isn't over, Mom said, but her voice broke. Ava can't do this to us. We're family. You have 3 minutes, the security guy said. I watched them scramble, Mom frantically grabbing her purse, Dad swiping their phones off the counter. The security team herded them to the door. Sophia and Isabella were already outside, handcuffed in the back of Ford's cruiser. Through the driveway camera, I saw them sobbing, mascara streaked down their faces. Mom paused at the threshold, taking one last look back, the wine-stained rug, the empty Chateau Margaux bottles, the mess they'd left behind. Then she stepped out and the door closed. The security team did a final sweep, snapping photos and videos of every inch. The stain, the bottles, the food evidence, all of it. At 10:07 p.m., the last officer locked up. The Ocean Citadel was empty, silent, waiting for Mr. Wagner, the real owner, to walk through and tally up the damage, a bill headed straight for Eleanor Thompson. She'd signed for it. At 10:17, my phone rang. Unknown number. I let it go. It rang again. And again. On the fourth call, I picked up. Ava. My mother's voice was raw. What on earth have you done? Hello, Mom, I said, calm as ever. Are you calling from the police station? They arrested your sisters. For nothing. You did this. You set us up. I rented a house, I said. You trashed it. There's a difference. You lied to us. You said you bought it. Nope. I said I'd purchased a property. Which I did. Just not that one. You assumed. And you signed a rental contract without reading it. You locked me out of the house. You destroyed a $23,000 rug and drank 5 bottles of wine that weren't yours. It's all on camera, Mom. Every bit. Actually, you're on the hook for it. You signed the liability waiver. Your name. Your problem. I could hear her breathing, ragged, desperate. Ava, please. We can work this out. Family helps family. You always help us. You know, I said. Just that. No. What? I'm done helping. I'm done being your bank account. I'm done sacrificing my peace for your approval. You all failed the test, Mom. Test? What test? You're insane. I gave you a choice, I said, cutting her off. I gave you a beautiful house. A perfect weekend. Everything you could want. And you treated me like a servant. You locked me out of my own rental. You told me to come back to clean up your mess. We didn't mean yes, you did. You meant every word. And now you get to deal with the fallout. The girls are in jail, Ava. Your sisters. They assaulted police officers. That's on them. Please, Mom whispered. We'll do better. We'll change. Just help us with this bill. Please. I shut my eyes. A year ago, I would have done it. Paid the bill. Made excuses. Told myself family was worth it, no matter the cost. But tonight, I finally understood. Some prices are too high. Some people never change. And sometimes, burning the bridge is the only way out. No, I said again. You signed the contract. You pay the bill. Goodbye, Mom. Ava, wait, I hung up. Turned off my phone. Sat in the quiet of my real home, my $12 million Hidden Hills sanctuary. The one they'd never see, never touch, never wreck. I poured another glass of wine, walked to the window. The valley lights stretched out beneath me, calm and far away. The infinity pool glowed blue in the dark. I thought maybe I'd feel guilt. Regret, maybe. But I just felt lighter. Like I'd finally set down a weight I'd been carrying for years. Tomorrow, my phone would blow up with messages. Dad kept leaving voicemails, trying to work some kind of deal. My sisters blew up my phone with texts, blaming me for getting them arrested. Wouldn't be surprised if Mom's bargain bin lawyer came at me next. But honestly, none of that mattered tonight. Tonight, I was finishing my wine, soaking in my over-the-top bathtub, and actually sleeping in my own bed, without the usual dreams about people who only cared about my bank account. I headed upstairs to my master suite. It's got valley views, a walk-in closet bigger than my first apartment, and a bathroom with heated floors. All mine. Nobody could touch this. I set my wine on the nightstand, swapped my clothes for silk pajamas, and tucked myself into Egyptian cotton sheets. My phone just sat there, black and quiet. Tomorrow it'd light up with drama, I knew that. But right now, I had peace. For once, I closed my eyes and honestly, slept better than I had in years.